what this Project Insights tab is doing is it's basically pulling any information out of your accounting system related to the project and displaying it right here for the project manager. That was always my experience as a project manager. Is I didn't go into the accounting system unless I had to. I wanted to be much more focused on what was actually happening on the project, kind of managing the dollars and cents of it. While that was a important and critical part of the job, that was not the part of the job I enjoyed most. I think there's probably a lot of people in construction that share that sentiment. And what this is doing is making it so you can access that information all in one location. So you're not having to leave your project to log into the accounting system and look at rows and rows of data, of cost data. It's all going to be displayed for you in one location. So, hey, if you're managing, an RFI and a submittal, and you go, hey man, what's my projected final cost right now? You can kind of quickly go to this report and see some statistics about where you are overall from a financial view on the project. So on this overview page, you can kind of see some top of the line key metrics for the project. What's your current contract amount? What was the original contract amount? What's your job to date cost, build to date? And then you can kind of see a chart of how you're tracking month over month. It's also going to give you a breakdown based on your different cost classes. So your labor, material, equipment, how are you performing? Are you over budget, under budget for those specific items? And then it's going to do the same thing for your cost codes. So based on each cost code activity, how are you performing on rough plumbing? How are you performing on electrical? It's going to give you a breakdown on what your revised estimated cost is, what your job to date cost is, and what your projected cost is. I think it's super great to have this snapshot view directly in the project. But what I really love about this functionality here is this forecast tool. And what this allows you to do is it allows the project manager to go in and make adjustments to where they think the project is going to end up. So for example, if I'm looking at my material budget and I'm looking at cost code 30126, plumbing, excavation, and backfill, and I say, hey, as a project manager, I've brought out everything I need to related to this. I saved $5,000 on my buyout. I can go in, make the adjustment here. It's going to update my projected cost at completion and what my remaining cost to complete is. When I accept the changes, it's going to go back and it's going to update on this financials tab right here. So what that's allowing you to do is it is allowing the project manager to go in and do their cost to complete. And this is something that I always experienced as a project manager. Was we always were kind of stuck between two options when project managers would go and update their cost projections. You could either do it within the accounting system, which, that was a pretty surefire way, but project managers always weren't the most nimble at navigating an accounting system. And you also had to kind of consider, hey, if you make the adjustments there, those are often final adjustments. They're going to reflect on any financial report that you have to file. You really want to make sure those are set in stone. So it kind of causes project managers to be more conservative as they're making their adjustments. And then on the other end of the spectrum was doing these adjustments in Excel. And that was always frustrating because it basically kind of, whenever you download the information from your accounting system to Excel, it was always slightly behind. Maybe it was only a day, maybe it was a week, but it was a static snapshot of what were your project costs at that time. And then the other thing with Excel is Excel's a great tool and it allows you to do a lot of different things, but that also means any project manager that's doing their updated cost projections in Excel are going to kind of develop their own way of doing it. So, if you have 5 different project managers all sending you different Excel sheets, it just becomes a bit of a cumbersome process to kind of understand what each one is doing in each of their updates. So having a tool like this, where it's still on a platform that's centralized, that's pulling the data in real time from your accounting system, and it's kind of in a standardized way, but it's not that kind of official record that your accounting system is. Having something like this like kind of be your project manager's sandbox to go in and kind of do that what if analysis to really come up with an accurate cost projection is something that I think is particularly helpful. So that's kind of one way that you can look at the project financials within your project. What's great about it is you have a lot of functionality within the system to build custom reporting. So let's say that you wanted to look at kind of some different metrics than just that standard cost to complete. We can build custom dashboards that show different information that pulls that information directly from the accounting system. So for example, right here is a project overview that's giving me some information, again, just on my budgets, change orders. I can see how much I'm spending in labor on a month-to-month basis. And then I'm also combining it with some project management metrics. So how quickly am I processing submittals? How quickly am I processing RFIs? What percentage of them are overdue? Again, it's kind of taking some of that overview project metrics across the project, not just looking at the financial, but combining it with that project management level view as well. We can kind of display it all in one information. And when we build these reports, what we always think about is you always want to ask why. You want to do that root cause analysis. If I'm looking at my labor budget, I want to say, okay, well, why is that? Am I running over budget? And what we do to kind of facilitate that is we create what we call drill down reports, where you can select a certain object and it will kind of drill down to the next level of detail. So on this one here, now I'm only looking at my specific labor detail. And I can see I have a widget in the top right here that shows me what are the cost codes that I'm over budget on. So I can say, okay, cost code 033004, I've gone way over budget on that. Let me see what's going on there. I can quickly click on it and it's going to filter out all the information to only show what's related to that project. So now I can see, okay, I had a budget of 531 hours. My job to date hours is 711. And not only did I go over budget on my hours, but my labor rate, I originally only estimated $70.52, and my job to date labor is closer to $78. So very quickly, within a couple of clicks, I can kind of get to that view of why I might be running over on a specific code. And that's really what you want to do with any kind of analytics when you're looking at your accounting data. Is you want to start at that macro view, how is the project performing, and very quickly get to that micro view to kind of understand why that is, what's driving those overruns or those cost savings. So we kind of talked about very specifically looking at project data based on your accounting information. The last thing I want to touch on real quick before we finish here is a WIP report. So if I exit my specific project and go back to my project list, you can see I have this reporting tool right here. If I select this, what it's going to do is it's going to bring me to a page where I can see a WIP report of all of my active projects. And this kind of opens up a window into a whole nother bunch of options where you can start doing corporate level analytics. So, the WIP report is always going to be that most popular one, but we've also created reports for AP, AR, revenue projections. There's really a lot of different ways that you can kind of look at all the information coming out of your accounting system.